Cybersecurity Analyst Interview Questions 2025, Complete Guide Plus Tips. Master your next cybersecurity analyst interview with our expertly crafted answers to the top 20 most common questions covering threat detection, incident response, risk management, compliance, and more. 1. What are the key differences between symmetric and asymmetric encryption? Symmetric encryption uses a single key for both encryption and decryption, making it faster but requiring secure key distribution. Common algorithms include AES and DES. Asymmetric encryption, by contrast, uses a public-private key pair. Data encrypted with the public key can only be decrypted with the private key and vice versa. It is more secure for key exchange but computationally intensive. Asymmetric encryption is often used in SSL/OTLS for secure web communications, while symmetric encryption is used for encrypting large volumes of data efficiently once secure communication is established. 2. Explain how a firewall works and the differences between stateful and stateless firewalls. A firewall filters incoming and outgoing traffic based on predefined security rules to block malicious traffic and prevent unauthorized access. Stateless firewalls evaluate each packet independently, without context of previous traffic, using simple rules based on IP, port, and protocol. In contrast, stateful firewalls maintain session state information and can make more intelligent decisions by analyzing traffic patterns over time. Stateful firewalls are better for modern networks as they track the state of active connections, making them more effective in detecting unauthorized access or anomalies in sessions. 3. What is the MITRE ATT&CK framework, and how do you use it in threat analysis? The MITRE ATT&CK framework is a knowledge base of adversarial tactics and techniques used in cyber attacks, categorized by attack stages and real-world threat behavior. It provides a common taxonomy for describing attacker behavior across the kill chain. In threat analysis, it helps identify and map attacker techniques, assess gaps in defenses, and prioritize mitigations. Analysts can use it during incident response to determine likely attacker behavior and improve detection rules in SIEMs. It is also used to evaluate the effectiveness of security tools and conduct red team or blue team exercises for improving cyber defense posture. 4. How would you detect and respond to a phishing attack? To detect phishing, I monitor for suspicious emails using filters, anomaly detection, and user reports. I look for indicators like fake sender domains, urgent language, and malicious links. On detection, I quarantine the email, analyze headers and payload, and remove similar messages across the system. I educate the affected user, reset credentials if needed, and block the source domain or IP. I update filters and rules to prevent recurrence. Finally, I document the incident, update incident response protocols, and analyze logs to ensure no data exfiltration occurred. 5. What are the common OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities, and how would you mitigate them? The OWASP top 10 includes injection, broken authentication, sensitive data exposure, XML external entities, XXE, broken access control, security misconfiguration, cross-site scripting, XSS, insecure deserialization, using components with known vulnerabilities, and insufficient logging and monitoring. Mitigation involves secure coding practices, input validation, proper authentication, access control, encryption, regular patching, and configuration hardening. Using web application firewalls, WAFs, secure software development lifecycles, SDLC, static dynamic code analysis tools, and regular security testing like pen testing also helps identify and address these vulnerabilities effectively. 6. Explain the difference between IDs, intrusion detection system, and IPS, intrusion prevention system. An IDS monitors network or system activity for suspicious behavior or known threats, alerting security personnel when potential intrusions are detected. It is a passive system that doesn't take direct action. An IPS, on the other hand, actively blocks or prevents malicious traffic in real time. It sits in line with network traffic, analyzing packets and dropping malicious ones based on predefined rules. While IDS is useful for logging and alerting, IPS enhances security by automatically mitigating threats. Both systems are often integrated into broader security architectures to provide layered defense against a variety of cyber threats. 7. How does SIEM, Security Information and Event Management, help in cybersecurity monitoring? SIEM systems collect, normalize, and analyze log data from across an organization's IT infrastructure to detect and respond to security incidents. They aggregate information from various sources like firewalls, IDS or IPS, endpoints, and applications, then apply correlation rules and machine learning to identify anomalies or known threat patterns. SIEMs help in early threat detection, incident response, and compliance reporting by providing centralized visibility, real-time alerts, and forensic data analysis. Tools like Splunk, IBM QRadar, and ArcSight allow cybersecurity teams to streamline investigations and respond faster to emerging threats, minimizing potential damage. 8. What steps would you take to secure a Windows, Linux server? Securing a server involves hardening the system through updates, configurations, and access controls. For both Windows and Linux, I start by applying all security patches and updates. I disable unnecessary services and ports, configure firewalls, e.g., IPtables, UFWA, Windows Firewall, and implement strong authentication mechanisms. I enforce the principle of least privilege, enable audit logging, and monitor logs regularly. For Linux, tools like SELinux and Fail2ban help add layers of security. On Windows, group policy and PowerShell scripts assist in enforcing policies. I also ensure antivirus or anti-malware protection and regular vulnerability scanning are in place. 9. How do you perform vulnerability scanning, and what tools do you prefer, e.g., Nessus, Qualys, OpenVAS? I perform vulnerability scanning by first identifying the target systems, ensuring proper authorization, and scheduling scans to minimize disruption. Using tools like Nessus, Qualys, or OpenVAS, I run both credentialed and non-credentialed scans to detect security weaknesses such as unpatched software, misconfigurations, and open ports. After scanning, I analyze the results, prioritize vulnerabilities based on CVSS scores and business risk, and work with system owners to remediate them. I verify fixes with rescans and maintain a history of reports for auditing and trend analysis. Regular scanning is key to proactive risk management. 10. What is DNS hijacking, and how can it be prevented? DNS hijacking is a type of cyber attack where attackers redirect legitimate domain name system (DNS) queries to malicious websites by altering DNS settings or spoofing responses. This can result in credential theft, malware infection, or traffic interception. Prevention includes using DNSSEC, Domain Name System Security extensions, to authenticate DNS responses, securing DNS servers with firewalls and access controls, and regularly monitoring for unauthorized changes. Organizations should also use reputable DNS providers, apply endpoint security measures, and implement alerts for abnormal DNS traffic to detect and respond to hijacking attempts quickly. 11. Walk me through your process for incident response from detection to containment. The incident response process involves preparation, detection, analysis, containment, eradication, recovery, and post-incident review. Once an alert is triggered, via SIEM, IDS, or user report, I investigate to confirm the incident and assess its scope. I then isolate affected systems to contain the threat and prevent lateral movement. Next, I identify and eliminate the root cause, such as malware or compromised credentials. After eradication, I restore systems from clean backups, apply patches, and monitor closely. Finally, I document the incident, perform a root cause analysis, and update playbooks to improve future response efforts. 12. How would you investigate a suspected ransomware attack? I would begin by isolating the affected systems to prevent spread. Then, I analyze logs, running processes, and file changes to determine the point of entry and identify the ransomware variant. I check for indicators such as encrypted file extensions, ransom notes, and command and control traffic. I use forensic tools to trace the infection vector, whether via phishing, RDP, or vulnerable software. I ensure backups are intact and unaffected before initiating recovery. I report the incident to stakeholders, law enforcement if necessary, and update defenses to close vulnerabilities. A post-mortem helps strengthen future prevention and response. 13. What are the indicators of compromise, IOCS, you look for in log analysis? IOCS are forensic artifacts indicating a potential breach. In log analysis, I look for unusual login patterns, e.g., logins at odd hours or from unknown IPs, spikes in failed authentication attempts, new administrative account creation, unexpected file changes, and outbound traffic to suspicious domains. I also monitor for known malicious IP addresses, abnormal port activity, and modifications to system binaries or configurations. Correlating these with threat intelligence feeds helps identify ongoing or historical compromises. IOCs guide investigation, containment, and mitigation actions, and are vital for threat hunting and continuous monitoring. 14. How do you handle false positives in security alerts? To handle false positives, I first verify the alert's legitimacy by correlating it with logs and contextual information. I examine system behavior, traffic patterns, and known baselines to determine if the activity is truly anomalous. If it's a false positive, I update SIEM rules or security tool configurations to reduce future noise, ensuring critical alerts aren't missed. I document the case and communicate with affected teams to build trust and accuracy. Continuous tuning of detection systems, leveraging machine learning, and refining correlation rules improves signal-to-noise ratio and makes incident response more efficient. 15. What is sandboxing, and how is it useful in malware analysis? Sandboxing is a cybersecurity technique that isolates programs or files in a controlled environment to safely observe behavior without affecting the host system. It's especially useful for analyzing suspicious files, emails, or software by executing them in a sandbox to detect malicious behavior such as unauthorized access, file modifications, or network communication. This helps analysts understand malware tactics and develop defenses without risking production systems. Sandboxing is used in threat detection, anti-malware testing, and endpoint protection. Tools like Cuckoo Sandbox and commercial solutions from FireEye or Palo Alto Networks are commonly used. 16. How do you ensure compliance with GDPR, HIPAA, or PCI DSS in security operations? Ensuring compliance starts with understanding each regulation's requirements. GDPR focuses on data privacy, HIPAA on healthcare data protection, and PCI DSS on payment card security. I perform regular risk assessments, implement access controls, encryption, audit logging, and data retention policies. I also ensure that only authorized personnel access sensitive data and that security awareness training is conducted. Incident response plans and breach notification procedures are established and tested. Compliance is maintained through continuous monitoring, periodic audits, and by aligning policies with frameworks like NIST or ISO 27001. Documentation and vendor management are also critical for regulatory adherence. 17. What are the best practices for patch management in an enterprise environment? Effective patch management involves a structured process to identify, evaluate, test, deploy, and verify security patches. Best practices include maintaining an accurate asset inventory, subscribing to vendor advisories, and prioritizing patches based on severity and asset criticality. Patches should be tested in staging environments before deployment to avoid disruption. Automating patch deployment with tools like WSUS, SCCM, or Ansible increases efficiency. Clear communication with stakeholders, rollback procedures, and patch compliance reporting are essential. Regular vulnerability scans help validate the effectiveness of patching and identify any missed updates. A documented patch management policy ensures consistency. 18. How would you conduct a risk assessment for a new system deployment? Conducting a risk assessment involves identifying assets, threats, vulnerabilities, and potential impacts. I begin by gathering system architecture details, understanding data sensitivity, and assessing potential exposure points. I evaluate threats such as malware, insider threats, and network attacks, then assess vulnerabilities through scanning tools and manual review. Risks are rated based on likelihood and impact using a risk matrix. I recommend controls such as encryption, segmentation, or access restrictions to mitigate risks. The assessment is documented, reviewed with stakeholders, and used to guide secure deployment. Regular reviews ensure the system remains secure over time. 19. Describe a time when you identified a critical security flaw. How did you address it? In a previous role, I discovered a critical flaw where user credentials were being transmitted in plain text over an internal API. I immediately reported it, documented the finding, and escalated to the development team. We performed a code review, identified the root cause, and implemented TLS encryption for all API endpoints. I then worked with QA to validate the fix and monitored traffic to ensure encryption was active. The incident led to updated coding standards and mandatory security reviews during development. This proactive approach helped prevent potential credential theft and strengthened overall application security. 20. How do you stay updated with the latest cybersecurity threats and trends? I stay informed by regularly reading industry blogs, e.g., Krebs on Security, dark reading, subscribing to threat intelligence feeds, e.g., USCERT, Threatpost, and following cybersecurity forums and communities. I attend webinars, conferences like Black Hat or DEFCON, and training sessions to deepen my knowledge. I also participate in Capture the Flag, CTF, challenges and online courses to sharpen practical skills. Engaging with vendor advisories and following updates from security organizations like MITRE, SANS, and OWASP helps me stay ahead of emerging threats and adapt strategies accordingly in my daily work. Preparing for cybersecurity analyst role requires both technical expertise and strategic thinking. These top 20 interview questions and answers offer valuable insights to help you stand out. Review them thoroughly. Stay current with cybersecurity trends, and approach your interview with confidence to secure your position in this dynamic field.